Welcome back to the Team Wild Academy, where this week we're back at Merlin Archery with our resident archery expert Ben Jones, as he shows us how to zero a pin sight.
What we're going to do now is set the sights up. These sights are set by the factory, so there's no way that these sights are going to be correct. Well, there's a very slim chance that they will be correct, but what we don't want to do is lose one of our new arrows straight away. So I've set the target at only 10 yards. That's close enough to know that if I make a reasonable shot, no matter where these sight pins are within this housing, I should hit the target. But that's by no means a dead cert. So all I know is at this distance, the chances of missing are very low. So I'm going to use the first couple of shots just to make sure I'm roughly on target, and then gradually start pushing the target back. So we can see by the impact of the arrow, it was high left in the 8 ring. So at 10 yards, that wasn't a bad guess, but if we was to push that target out to 30 yards without changing the sights, we're likely to go right to the outside of the boss or even miss the target. So we want to get sighted in at 10, then we're going to push the target back. So the rule is, when you're adjusting your sights, you follow the arrow with your sight. So the arrow has gone high left, which means I'm going to move my sight up and to the left. And it's a trial and error to know how much it is. But judging from that, we're going to move the sight up approximately a centimetre and to the left probably 5 millimetres, and then we'll see where it lands. It's got a micro adjustment on this sight, which means it's quite convenient just to undo the nuts, move it up now and undo the horizontal one and move the sight out. Well, that's pretty tight. So it might still need some more adjustment, but it will give us a good idea of what we're doing. Nice central shot. So it's too easy at 10, let's push the target back a bit further. So we're at 20 yards now, and 20 yards is probably one of the most critical distances for hunting. It's going to be a top pin, and the reason that we're using 20 yards as the top pin is because to have a 10-yard pin, the distance between the two pins is so small it's almost not worth trying to set a separate pin. But the further away you get, the bigger the spread between the pins becomes. So I was originally set at 10 yards, I'm going to shoot 20. I probably expect it to drop just a little bit low, but it should be quite close still to central. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so we have dropped a little bit lower than I thought. I'll take another shot just to make sure it wasn't human error. So you can see I've got 2 shots virtually in exactly the same place. I can be confident that the equipment's shooting well. They were 2 good shots that are made. So that's just a case of adjusting the sight. So let's have a play. Okay, I've dropped that probably 3 or 4 mil. And there was marginally to the right, so just bring that in a little bit. And fingers crossed it's going to be okay. Well, we're getting close. I've caught the yellow, bottom right hand corner. I need to move the sight a bit more to the right. take that as a not very good shot. Let's have another one. Perfect. So that's 20 sighted in, which is one of the most important distances. You notice when I was adjusting the sight for the first distance, I was moving the whole carriage up and down. When it comes for the next distances, you're going to individually move the pins, because although they're roughly in the right place, you need to fine tune them. So you'll have each pin individually adjusted to suit the different distances up to 60 yards. But that's something I'll leave Ian to do. I've got him on target. It's up to him if he loses all his arrows or not, but they're both set up good enough to shoot at the target. One other thing you might need to take into consideration, you noticed I was shooting the bow with the bow quiver attached, fully loaded with arrows. That's because when you shoot a bow with an arrow quiver and without an arrow quiver, the impact point of the arrows varies slightly on the target. So when you're getting sight marks for hunting, you should shoot it as close to the actual conditions that you'll be using the bow in. So it feels a little heavier, it's a bit more weighted to the side, and it does change the impact of the arrows. Ian's got to now sight in, first of all check his 20 yards is the same as mine, because the individual archer will have slight variances on the impact as well. So it's a very personalised setup. You can't hand somebody a bow and say it's sighted in just because someone else has set it up. What it does, it gives them an approximation of where the sights will be. The individual archer has to fine-tune it to get the best results for them.
Tune in next week to the Team Wild Academy to get some expert tuition for proper archery technique. If you haven't seen the previous episodes in the Build Your Bow series, click on the links. Subscribe to Team Wild TV for our phenomenal lineup of new shows for 2013 and enjoy the best hunting videos on YouTube.